They might seem cute, helpless, and charmingly innocent. Or they can look fierce, weird, and downright creepy. In the world of extreme animals, meet the babies. This little chap is a Prabhaskis monkey infant. Native only to the Indonesian island of Borneo, Prabhaskis babies spend much of their time hanging out in the trees with mum. Prabhaskis monkeys are so called because of the adult's pendulous nose. Yep, Dad's a catch-all right. With a pronounced potbelly, he honks like a cabbie stuck in traffic. And has a nose so long, it beats out double time when he eats. But as far as females are concerned, the bigger, the better. The more supersized the male's nose, the more successful they'll be when it comes to mating. While it might not be as big as Dad's, baby Prabhaskis are born with a nose for danger. Because wherever mum goes, they're along for the ride. It's a long way down, but that doesn't seem to bother mum one bit. And Prabhaskis babies aren't the only tree-dwelling tots on a terrifying tour of the jungle canopy. Borneo is also home to orangutans. Their young are carried everywhere until they're at least 2 years old. And they better hang on because mum, she's got some moves. Orangutans are highly skilled at swinging through the trees. And they're also risk-takers. One study suggests more than a third have broken major bones, and falls from over 20 meters are common. But Prabhaskis monkeys are even more daring than their hairy, ginger neighbors, because they don't just swing, they leap, and not just from tree to tree. Of all monkeys, Prabhaskis have the most aquatic lifestyle, and, having evolved webbed hands and feet, are the primate world's most avid swimmers. Yet their high diving, well, it could use a little work. Ooh, that's got to sting. As for baby, well, before Junior can squeal, "Are we there yet?" Smackdown. And if being on the wrong side of a colossal monkey belly flop isn't enough of an adrenaline rush, then there's the crocs. While mum and baby have climbed to safety this time, not all cross the river so nimbly. And there's a high price to pay. Clinging to your high-diving mum is brave, but the next extreme daredevil baby makes a leap of faith, all on their lonesome. North American wood ducklings begin life like any other duck. But unlike most, wood ducklings are born in tree nesting cavities, which can be more than 15 meters above the ground. The good news? The ducklings are well out of the way of ground and river-dwelling predators. The bad? they must follow Mother Duck down to the river or face starvation. Worse still, the ducklings will leap within 24 hours of hatching, well before they can fly. Equipped with little more than flightless wings and a fearless disposition, this little fluff ball flings herself into the void. One by one, her siblings take the plunge. Cannonballing into shallow water isn't usually a great idea. But wood ducklings can survive falls of over 14 meters. And this lot are the lucky ones. They got to jump into water. Some wood ducklings are born over 1 kilometer from the water's edge, and they face a much harder landing. It's spring in eastern Greenland, and barnacle geese have arrived to breed. They are true lovebirds and couple up for life. All very romantic. What's going to make you feel a little bit less gooey inside is the deadly rite of passage barnacle goslings endure in their first days of life. Barnacle geese don't feed their goslings, and their cliff-top home is barren of the vegetation they must eat to survive. The nearest greenery is in the river valley more than 120 meters below. What happens next is hard to believe. The goslings are still weeks from being fully fledged and capable of flight. But with little hesitation, their tiny wings outstretched, they leap from the cliff. With just a light covering of down to cushion the jarring impacts, the goslings bounce their way down the cliff face like a car crash you just can't stop watching. Although wince-inducing, the more times the chicks bounce, the greater their chance of survival. The direct route down? Yeah, not such a great idea. But this gosling's a little trooper, emerging unscathed. Around 1 in 5 goslings don't survive the 120-meter plunge, so it may not be lucky last for the remaining hatchling. But this feathered fiend spits in the eye of statisticians, and off he goes. A steady, controlled descent. Bit of a bump to break the fall, and another. Ooh, and a nice patch of grass to land on. Happy days. But he isn't clear of danger just yet. Having abandoned their clifftop advantage, the goslings are now in the realm of the Arctic fox. All the adult geese can do is hope to distract the fox and lead it away from a feast of tenderized gosling. Three of the chicks make it to the edge of the boulder field. They're safe, but the last gosling to jump perishes in the jaws of the fox. Honey badgers aren't as sweet as their name suggests, and regularly hunt down highly dangerous prey. This cobra is one of the most venomous snakes in the world. But to the honey badger, it's just lunch. So, honey badger cubs have super daring parents. How about their own daredevil credentials? Well, this one will hang out with mum until around 2 years old. But while they're dependent when small, they're certainly not entirely defenseless. By around 3 months old, they have fully formed teeth, claws, and tough skin up to ½ a centimeter thick. Perhaps, though, their greatest asset is their attitude. Mum leaves her cub alone near their burrow while she goes out hunting and foraging for food. The burrow provides cover from would-be predators, but the cub is exploring. As is this jackal. Rodents are a regular on the jackal's menu, but there's good reason honey badgers aren't. Even youngsters can be highly aggressive, if not particularly graceful. It even seems like this cub goes out of its way to look for trouble. With multiple, far larger adversaries. The zebra may outweigh this little cub by nearly 50 times. Mum broke it up this time. But when fully grown at 6 months old, her cub's gung-ho gladiatorial attitude can make all the difference in a scrap. And the jackals are sent packing. And if this daredevil's prey think they're safe in the shallows, they're in for an explosive surprise. With their stunning black and white coloration, orca are always dressed for dinner and feed on a wide array of fish and aquatic mammals. Each requires a different hunting strategy. And at 2 locations, orca are known to use a high-risk tactic to make a kill. In Punta Norte, Argentina, the orca approach around high tide, carefully selecting the right wave before propelling themselves onto the shore. They deliberately target sea lion pups, with around half of attacks resulting in a kill. But it's a dangerous ploy for the orca. Adults can weigh close to 6 tons, and it takes considerable effort to free their bulk from the beach. Land too high up the shoreline, and the orca risks stranding and a slow death. On the Crozet Islands of the sub-Antarctic, orca use the same beaching method to hunt elephant seals. It's such a daredevil tactic, orca calves must undergo a long apprenticeship before attempting it themselves. This young orca is escorted by an adult female, which nudges the calf a safe distance ashore. The youngster must learn to strike a balance between being brave enough to reach those tasty seals, but not so brave she gets stuck. For now, the adult helps by positioning her bulk between the calf and the beach, pushing the apprentice back to deeper water when necessary. But for the next lesson, the calf must beach on her own. This attempt ends in near disaster. The calf lands too far up the beach. Fortunately, there's a team of scientists on hand who don't mind getting their corduroys wet. And after a bit of effort and the help of the incoming tide, the calf swims back to her waiting mother. Cue overjoyed boffin, yeah! So this highly dangerous mode of hunting is not easy to master. It can take several years of practice before calves graduate their beaching apprenticeship with a ruthless flourish. the help of her mother, this calf has made its first brutal shoreline kill. It's enough to scare even the big lads up the beach. That, or an ice cream van just pulled up. Africa's lions are known as king of the beasts for good reason. Weighing up to 240 kilograms, armed with razor-sharp claws and powerful jaws, lions are ruthless apex predators. They can take down animals up to 4 times their size. With such menacing parents, lion cubs should be a sure thing for a spot in the extreme animal countdown of Daredevil babies. But born blind, toothless, and unable to walk, lion cubs start life helpless. In fact, they won't actively hunt with the pride until they're 16 months old. But even very young cubs will follow prey movements and practice hunting. And this one's on the prowl. Future king of the beasts versus a Weasley-looking mongoose. This is going to be brutal. Only the mongoose has mates. Rather a lot of mates. And they're not intimidated by this overgrown pussycat. Perhaps a lion cub should try taking on something with a little less attitude to prove its mettle. Something like, yeah, definitely not a snake. It's less Daredevil and more plain daft to hiss at a python. A baboon. Now that's more like it. But this one's quick and disappears up a tree. The cub does try and follow. But soon gives up the chase. So it's another unsuccessful hunt. And as if to rub it in, the baboon pelts the cub with sticks. Could her day get any worse? Well, it never rains, but it pours. And the Messiah complex is one of the most active of its 19 volcanoes. Despite emitting clouds of toxic sulfuric gas, it's home to a particularly brave population of birds. The Pacific parakeet is known to have nested in 2 of its craters since at least the 16th century. But although it's a long-favored location, nesting in an active volcano poses a high level of danger to the parakeet chicks once they fledge. If this chick gets its maiden flight wrong, it risks a 300-meter fall into the active crater below. Just don't look down. The hognose snake is a scary-looking native of North America. When threatened, it primes to deliver an apparently venomous strike. But don't be fooled. The hognose snake is a slippery con artist. Whilst it is venomous, it's just potent enough to kill toads. But the snake flattens its head to look like a cobra. It strikes viciously, but does so with its mouth closed. Such is the respect shown to venomous snakes in the wild, this fraudulent song and dance is often enough to deter predators. It's undoubtedly a ballsy bluff, especially for an animal conspicuously lacking cojones. But does a freshly hatched hognose have the guile and guts of its parents? This newborn snake has attracted the attention of a hungry rat several times its size. There's no fake strike, but the hatchling instinctively pulls a different con. Rolling belly up, its mouth agape, the snake plays dead. This morbid pretense enhanced by the secretion of a deathly odor. Many predators will not eat foul-smelling corpses, and the rat gives up on its meal. As soon as it disappears, the snake has a seemingly miraculous recovery. The life of the theatre isn't for everyone. But the hognose snake will call upon its talent for acting time and again to save its skin. Although the audience will always be hostile, the show must go on if the snake wants to live. What? No encore? The blue alken butterfly. Not particularly fast or acrobatic in the air, more of a flutterer than a fighter. And yet its offspring have the most outlandishly daring start to life. Female blue alkens lay their eggs on carefully selected gentian plants. Once hatched, the caterpillar doesn't look like much of an adventurer. But if it's to survive, it must hitch a lift with some very dangerous strangers. The caterpillar has been found by foraging European fire ants. It would undoubtedly make a quick, juicy meal, but the ants don't eat it because it smells just like one of their own larvae. Thanks to this cunning chemical mimicry, the ants instead haul the caterpillar back into the heart of their nest. The caterpillar is bigger and a completely different color than the ant larvae it's been stashed next to. Fire ants are known for their aggression, fierce defense of territory, and fiery stings. If they knew the caterpillar was actually an intruder, it would be instantly attacked. So its deception is truly daring. And it gets more brazen still. Not content with mere acceptance by the ants, the caterpillar begins to imitate the sound made by the queen, and consequently attains the colony's highest rank. The caterpillar's every need is catered for. It's fed directly by the worker ants, and although it's given more food than the actual ant larvae, the caterpillar will polish a few of these off too. What's more, the blue alken caterpillar's audacious ruse is sustained, taking advantage of its host's unwitting hospitality for up to 2 years. When eventually ready to take on adult form, the blue alken caterpillar forms a chrysalis, and the ants continue to clean and care for it. With the game finally up, the blue alken must exit the nest and sharpish. It's pulled off an outrageously dangerous con to emerge as a superfly butterfly. For so-called cold-blooded animals, wood frogs have a surprisingly cozy start to life. As tadpoles, they seek out the company of their siblings and hang out together in large groups. In fact, it's thought that of all amphibians, they're best able to recognize other family members. Although remembering all their names, well, that's another challenge entirely. During the summer months, the tadpoles will shed their family ties and tails to become frogs. Some will emerge onto land, soon to face a very cold, new world indeed. Because wood frogs are found further north than any other North American amphibian, even living here in the frigid climes of Alaska. Amphibians are only ever as warm as the day, and in Alaska, that can be sub-zero for 6 months of the year. With the mercury plunging to lows of -20 in the depths of winter. So, just months into life on land, and with up to 3 years to wait until it can breed, how will this young frog escape the killer climate? As the weather reaches topside, the wood frog can be found buried under leaf litter. Close to half of its body is frozen solid. The semi-frozen frog's heartbeat, breathing, and brain activity has ceased altogether. Clinically speaking, it's dead. Wood frogs can remain in near total physiological shutdown for up to 7 months. But when spring and the big melt arrives, something astonishing happens. Thanks to an antifreeze substance in its blood, the frog's cells have remained functional and it begins to thaw. Until eventually, it's completely reanimate. The young frog has survived its first Alaskan winter, emerging to warm its body in the spring sunshine. Dragonflies combine speed, graceful aerial agility, and often vivid colors. They are truly visually compelling insects. At first glance, their infant offspring, not so much. Flightless, dull-colored, and let's face it, ugly. Dragonfly nymphs have a lot of growing up to do before they're as charming as their parents. It takes some species up to 7 years to shed their skin and assume their adult form as flying insects. But as nymphs, they already possess some of their parents' attributes. For one thing, they're quick in the water, traveling in bursts of up to 10 centimeters per second. So how does the nymph generate this daring turn of speed? Its limbs are way too spindly, but its abdomen is a muscular pump, moving water in and out of the nymph's body, contracted with force, and the nymph's out of there. It's like it's got a jet propulsion pack up its backside. And there's another impressive feature of the dragonfly nymph's internal hydraulics. By suddenly releasing built-up water pressure inside its abdomen, the nymph can fire out its lower jaw to grab prey. So thanks to packing jet propulsion and a high-velocity harpoon, the dragonfly nymph is a formidable predator for its size. What's more, with a penchant for tadpoles, apparently they taste just like chicken. And even tadpoles nearly grown into frogs dragonfly nymphs are in an exclusive club. Very few insects are capable of hunting down and munching up vertebrates. Crunchy. With its gothic appearance and mythic association with the supernatural realm, the raven has a pretty scary rep. And yet these American raven chicks are far from tough guys. Under Mum's watchful gaze, this lot are finally ready to leave the nest they now barely fit into. They're around 5 or 6 weeks old and fully fledged. But when they attempt to fly, they don't get very far. Mum rewards this chick with a bit of food for trying anyway. For the first week or so, the chicks remain close to the nest, flying only short distances. And it looks like that this deserves a wee treat too. Even once capable of looking after themselves, raven chicks will often continue to hang around their parents. Ooh, well done. Great crowing. And the food keeps on coming. But when they eventually do go out on their own, juvenile ravens get into all sorts of mischief. On the Kamchatka Peninsula in eastern Russia, this youngster has decided to steal lunch off a Stella's sea eagle. It's only a chick, but it's far larger than the raven, and its nearby mother could be more than 10 times the raven's size. What's more, around 3/4 of this eaglet's diet is likely to be other birds. Time to call in some backup. Ravens are highly intelligent and will sometimes team up to problem solve. And this pair aren't here to do a crossword. They've got a rather daring scam in mind. One distracts the eaglet while the other... Oh, that's sneaky. Young punk ravens 1, big dumb sea eagle chick 0. But ravens don't even place on the countdown. Because while nicking lunch from a hungry bird of prey takes steely nerves, our next battling baby must fight its way off the lunch menu. Royal albatross chicks are the product of a one-egg brood, but these are not spoiled birds. Once fully grown, Royal albatross have a wingspan of over 3 meters, which, once airborne, allows them to soar at speeds in excess of 112 kilometers per hour. At 8 months old, having never flown before, this chick is about to set off on an epic adventure navigating the southern hemisphere's cold, treacherous open oceans. Incredibly, it might be 5 years before he touches dry land again, in which time he's likely to have clocked up at least 800,000 kilometers on the wing. But while this is an epic maiden journey, the Royal Albatross's tropical cousins have a first flight even more fraught with danger. The Laysan albatross is reared in the far warmer climes of Hawaii. These chicks are nearly fully fledged, but have yet to shed all their down. Like many adolescents, they have a rather experimental look. But for this lot, there's no time to add questionable piercings and bad tattoos, because soon they, along with fledgling black-footed albatross, will take to the air for the first time. Hawaii is world-renowned for its stunning coastline. But although this albatross chick doesn't yet know it, shadowy dangers lurk in its waters. Tiger sharks arrive just off Hawaii's albatross colonies every June and July, just in time for the maiden flights of fledgling albatross. this chick's first flight will be its last. Around 1 in 10 of these young birds will be devoured by these formidable predators. A 2-kilogram baby bird versus a highly aggressive apex predator up to 5.5 meters long. No contest. Or so you'd think. But this chick isn't going down without a fight. And this battling baby lives to fly another day. So finally, we've reached the top spot of the extreme animal countdown of daredevil babies. The savannah of Africa is home to a truly imposing mega herbivore. This white rhino is in the final throes of labor. Her calf arrives in the world weighing 40 kilograms. Despite her heft and practically armor-plated skin, calves are unsteady on their feet for the first few days. And that makes them vulnerable to predators. But if these hyenas think they're getting past Mum, they're having a laugh. Weighing anywhere between a car and a small truck, with a horn capable of inflicting horrific wounds, rhino can charge at up to 50 kilometers an hour. So, if you see a rhino in a bad mood, probably best to stay out of their way. Rhino calves take full advantage of their formidable bodyguard. This newborn will stay with her massive mother until 2 or 3 years old. Black rhino live primarily in brushland, so calves always travel behind their mother, who can thwart any hidden attackers. White rhino calves trot along in front of Mum. They mostly live on the open savannah, so this leaves them less prone to attack from the rear by lions, leopards, and hyena. But while Mum's great at deterring predators, at this waterhole, she's attracted the attentions of a very large bull. Female rhinos are frequently killed by territorial males. And if she's on heat and her calf is male, he could also be in mortal danger. But rhino calves are so attached to their mothers, they may refuse to leave her side. Forsaking its own safety, this calf does something extraordinarily brave. The calf has seen off an aggressor many times its size and saved its mother from a potentially lethal encounter. But rhino calves aren't always such tough guys. This little fella just loves to kid around. After all, even the ultimate daredevil baby needs some downtime to hang out with pals and act the goat.